Yo. What's up? We in here. Just waiting for this weigh-in. Well, the weigh-in's on right now. Just waiting to see the weigh-in results. Wanted to watch it live and go straight into a prediction video. All right. I was supposed to do a prediction video yesterday, but once I saw that Gary Russell was injured, or he was saying that he has a minor injury, kind of made me want to think about it a little bit more because I wasn't really sure how to go with this prediction. I was, like I told you guys before in the video I did the other day, I was kind of leaning more towards Gary Russell winning by decision because even though he's been inactive, I just think he's the more complete fighter. And once I see an article of him saying that he has a minor injury, he doesn't want to say the details, I was like, I don't know what to really go with that one right there. What's up, everyone that's coming in? Make sure you smash that like button. What's up, Simone? What's up, Dion, Boxing? All right. So yeah, it was just all about that. And now we just waiting for this weigh-in. Well, we're waiting for them to get to Gary Russell. All right. And look, when it comes to Gary Russell, I mean, even though he's inactive, the guy stays fit. He's a gym rat. He's always been that. He's always only fought like once a year. He's never been the most active fighter. I know they keep, promoting this and marketing his fight as in the longest reigning champion in boxing. And that's partly due to the fact that he's did enough to hold his titles. He's fought his mandatories, but he hasn't really made that much of an effort to fight multiple times a year, unify. Excuse me. He wanted the Leo Santa Cruz fight, and Leo is PBC. I mean, Leo did duck him, but still, he wasn't really trying to get involved. And I think part of that has to do with just, if he feels like he's not up for a certain fight, he doesn't really want to do it. And I think in a sense, that kind of hurts him because it's like now he's saying in a press conference, hey, I wanna fight 2-3 times this year. And it's like, man, well, you went through your whole prime pretty much not doing that. That's what we wanted from you back then. So it was hard for me to really come to a conclusion on or come to a prediction on how this fight was gonna go. But but I should definitely be able to do this, cover this fight live tomorrow. I think the whole thing is I do want to order the UFC fight. All right. I'm really looking forward to that UFC fight. Most likely I'm going to pay for the pay-per-view to watch that. UFC 270, basically for the heavyweight, the main, fight. I'm really looking forward to that. So that might be the first card in a long time that like I cover on this channel. Because if I'm going to pay for the pay-per-view, I'm definitely going to just watch and enjoy casually. I'm not going to be doing live like fight by fight. I kind of want to watch it just to enjoy, but I will sneak this live commentary in for this fight tomorrow. I will find a way to cover the UFC fight, but cover this fight specifically because I do really look forward to this fight between Gary Russell Jr. and Mark Magsayo. But that UFC heavyweight matchup tomorrow night is a monster. Like, that's a no way I can miss that fight. All right. So that's how I feel about that. Wait, why am I waiting for the weigh-in and it's not, why is it not showing on my television? It's like playing the background thing. I have it on Showtime. This is wild. Gary Russell missed weight too? You guys are saying he missed weight, but for some reason it's not. Oh, man. Oh, okay. All right. Damn, my bad, y'all. I was wondering why it wouldn't start. I'm sitting here and it's the background is playing on Showtime I'm waiting for the damn weigh-in to start, and it's on, and I'm not even. Damn, my bad, y'all. My bad. My bad. You guys are telling me the weigh-in results, and I'm sitting here waiting for the weigh-in to start. So if he missed weight, damn, man, this is just not looking good, man. Give me a second, y'all. Give me a second, y'all, because I gotta watch this. All right. Give me a second because I want to hear this. And the challenger weighs in at 125.5 pounds. Mark Magnifico Magsayo. So Mark makes weight. Gary Russell is giving us all the reasons on why he should lose this fight. Jesus. I mean, it's only, if he's only missed it by half a pound. All right. 126. So it is official. All right, he can make the weight. It's not a big deal. All right, it's not the worst I've ever heard. I don't know, man. Listen, let me tell you something right now. If Gary's gonna lose a fight, I mean, no, if not even, let me not say that. If there's any opportunity to beat Gary Russell Jr., it's tomorrow night. Yeah, it's just you have an injury. And you didn't go into the details. You say you'll tell us what's going on after the fight. Well, why bring it up at all? Why bring it up? Why bring it up? Why bring it up at all? You know, it's a half a pound. It's not that big of a deal. But being 2 years inactive, being a half a pound, you know, missing weight by half a pound, and then saying that you have an injury on top of that, that's a little too much. You know, you're right. You're fighting a young, hungry fighter. This is, if you go through Gary Russell's resume, right? Mark Magsayo is probably somewhere around the third or fourth best fighter that he's fought throughout his career. It's not like Gary Russell have some of the best fighters that he's, he didn't fight Frampton. He didn't fight Leo, and I'm not saying it's his fault. I'm not blaming him for that. I understand a lot of these fighters ducked him, but he doesn't have a large stable of fighters that's on his resume that were super elite fighters. He doesn't have that. He has the Lomachenko fight, which he lost. He has Jojo Diaz, but outside of that, you can make an argument that Mark Magsayo is probably the best fighter or maybe the toughest challenge that he's faced in his career. You just don't know. Like, this is why it was so hard for me to call this one, because I think Russell on his best day beats Magsayo with no hesitation. I think he definitely beats him. Like, when I'm looking at the styles, Magsayo is very athletic. He's very explosive. He's a fun fighter to watch. He's powerful. He could definitely crack. He gets busy in the ring, but Gary Russell right now, the way he is, the way he's looking, it's hard to really call right now. It's very, very hard. That's why I wanted to go live. I didn't even want to do a regular prediction recording video. I wanted to go live because I wanted to talk to y'all about it and see how we all thinking of this. Definitely drop the comments. Let me know who you got in the comments, because this is crazy. Like, Russell, listen, Russell is making it real hard for us to pick him to win this one here. Because it's more than just the styles. It's more than just the boxing ability, the skill set. It's more than that right now. It's more than that. And another thing too is, when Gary lost to Lomachenko, the first thing he said was that he didn't feel right in the fight. You know, he said his energy was off. I can't remember exactly what he said, but something about his energy. He felt drained in the fight. You know, couldn't really go into like why, but he made the excuse of him not feeling right during the fight. Okay. And you're actually fighting a fighter that is good at draining his opponents. Like Lomachenko is the type that outwork you. Lomachenko is the type that go to your body. You know, he's doing a whole lot of things. So, like fighting Lomachenko is draining in itself. So when you come out of the fight and you lose a fight, and you're saying that you felt drained or you didn't feel right in the fight, maybe that has to do with the opponent you was facing that night. You know, so it's like, damn, how do we pick you here? Because I'm trying to, like, I'm sitting here overthinking it. And this was yesterday. I'm like, all right, is Gary making a built-in excuse just in case he loses? When you say, oh, I got a little injury, but I'm not going to say the details until after the fight is over. Well, if you win the fight and you look great, is the injury is it gonna matter? But if you lose the fight, I'm assuming we definitely gonna hear about that injury you got. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, okay, it's either that or is he playing mind games here? You know, is he just trying to like throw something out here? I got a little injury. I'm not gonna go into the details, but I do have an injury. Even if you're doing that just to play psychological games with the other camp, even if you do that, it kind of shows that you lack confidence going into this fight, because normally Gary Russell don't move that way. You know, Gary Russell seems to be very, very confident in himself. And for you to even say anything, it makes me feel like something's off going into this fight. Again, besides Lomachenko, besides Jojo Diaz, you know, there's not many other guys that I can say that, you know, is a definitely like a you know, a debatable or like one of the top guys that was in a division when you fought them. You know, I could go back into Johnny Gonzalez. Like, you beat Johnny Gonzalez, but Johnny Gonzalez was already past it at that time, you know? So it's like, I like Mark Magsayo outside of Jojo and Lomachenko. I like Mark Magsayo. And being that you're 33, you'll be 34 this year, right? You'll be 34 in a few months. You've been inactive for 2 years. It's like, all right, you already had that. But then you tell us you have a little injury. Okay, you got that too. And now you miss weight. I mean, you a fitness dude. You're a fit dude. You supposed to be fit all year round. You a gym rat. Just the fact that you miss weight, even though it was a half a pound, it just tells me something is off with Gary Russell. You know, and now I'm unsure if you're going to be able to pull this one off. What's up, Contender Regime Boxing? Thank you for the super chat. Salute BoxingWave. This is going to be a great fight. Gary better be ready, because this dude Magsayo could be a real problem. Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. And listen, I told y'all the other day, even with the 2 years off, I said, I still got Gary Russell winning this by decision based on the styles, based off the skills. I love skills. I'm always going to run with skills, all right, over the more powerful boxer. You know, even though the powerful guys are punchers, could come off and land a big shot and win. But Gary Russell with his skills, and when I look at Mark Magsayo, and I look at, you know, the southpaw he recently faced and how he looked, you know, he struggled in that fight. You know, when I looked at how he struggled a little bit in the Julio Ceja fight, when Julio Ceja got aggressive with him on the inside. When I look at these things, I say, okay, I see that Mark Magsayo got some flaws in there that Gary Russell can definitely exploit when they fight tomorrow night. But Gary Russell is coming in with everything that Gary Russell has going into this fight is problematic for him, you know. And on top of that, he doesn't seem like he's as confident as he normally is, you know. So if anybody's going to beat Gary Russell, if Gary Russell is going to lose a fight, this is the time, because he's not getting up for this fight like he normally would, as he should. He's not getting up for it. You know, this is a fight that you got to be on your best. You got to be on point. You got to be as sharp as possible. Strategy going into this fight, Mark Magsayo, I thought this yesterday when I heard about his injury and stuff. I said, yo, Mark got to go in there, guns blazing, right off the jump, first round. Do not give Gary, like, if Mark is going to win this fight, he got to come out in the fight striking crazy. No, don't let Gary Russell get comfortable. He's been out of the ring for 2 years. For 2 years. So if Mark Magsayo plans on winning this fight, you got to jump out guns blazing. All right. You're not a super technical fighter. You're not trying to slow down the pace. You're younger, you're fresher, you're explosive. So what you want to do is crowd Gary Russell. Don't give Gary the time to settle in and start, outpointing you and just timing you and setting the traps. No, Gary wants to slow down the pace. He's the older fighter. He's the rusty fighter. He's claiming he has injuries. He's missing weight. It doesn't even sound like he had a great camp. Just based on what he's saying, the way his demeanor is, his body language, he doesn't even the weigh-in. If you even look at the weigh-in just now, he looked like he wasn't even looking up. Gary doesn't seem like himself going into this fight. I don't think he's confident. I don't think he's confident going into this fight. Now, if he goes out and wins, then that's great. I want him to win, but the way he's looking leading up to this fight, something's off, man. Something's off, man. And you said I was still like kind of leaning towards, but I just don't know, man. I don't know. Yeah, we don't know what kind of injury he has, but the fact that he even brought it out to the public, if it's just a little injury, why say anything? You say it's a small injury, but I'm usually going into fight with injuries anyway, which is true. A lot of fighters will tell you that. Any fighter on this elite level are going into fights injured, some sort of injuries. And that goes with athletes, basketball, football for sure. Basketball, football players, they play injured all year round. All right? They're never 100%. So I get it. But you made it a point to bring it up for this fight specifically. Now I have a little injury, but I'll talk about it after the fight. Why bring it up? It's like a built-in excuse, kind of. So maybe, I don't know, maybe he's playing mind games. Like I said, it could be one of those things like, let me put this out there. Because I want everybody to feel like I'm not out on my best. I want people to feel like I'm not in my A game. But even that, it just, if you're the better fighter, if you're the better man, you'll win based on your skill set, based on your talent. I mean, some guys win some, they lose some. It is what it is. But what I don't want to hear is a built-in excuse. Because the only other fight that you ever lost, the only fight you lost, there was an excuse in that loss. And that makes me worry the most. It's not just because this is the first time he said it. It's because the last time he lost the fight, there was an excuse there. And that excuse is that I didn't feel right. I felt drained in the fight. When you lost the fight, you felt drained. When I watched the fight, I felt like you lost the fight because you lost to the better fighter that night. But you're saying that you weren't yourself. I mean, you know your body. I can't tell you how to feel and think and all that. All I know is that I can base things based on what I see in the ring that night. Just like when Lomachenko lost to Teofimo Lopez, and I know he got surgery and stuff after. All right, so there was some sort of injury. But on the night of the fight, I'm basing it off the performance, itself. What did you do? Lomachenko stepped it up later. And part of the plan was to step it up later. I just think he gave too many rounds away, We can only base and judge. Everybody has an excuse on why they didn't lose. Most fighters don't just go and say, no, I lost to the better fighter. I was incredible. That's something that people getting on Joshua on right now. Anthony Joshua lose to Usyk, and he's like, yo, I'm hurt by it because I was 100%. I don't have any excuses. It's not like the Andy Ruiz fight where something was off. He didn't go into details about it, but most of us know something was off. You know. What's up, guys? What you guys? Let me go down the comments, man. I'm gonna go down the comments real quick. Jay Rodriguez says Gary dominating the early rounds, but after the third and fourth, I think Magsayo might be able to steal the fight. Okay. Isan says he has an hour to shed the weight. My money's on Mark. Bruce Gold says salute BoxingWave. Salute to you, bro. King Alfred says he has an injury and doesn't make weight. Damn bad camp. Jay Rodriguez says half a pound is a lot right before a fight. How old is Gary? He's 33. He'll be 34 in June. What else? Who else do we have here? Gary missed weight. Yeah, Daryl says exactly what I was just saying. Daryl says his demeanor worries me more than his weight and whatever slight injury he may have. And that's exactly what I was saying. I do not like the way Gary was looking in that. It's the way he looked in the weigh-in, the way he looked in the what's up with my camera? The way he looked in the weigh-in, the way that he looked in the press conference. It just his body. This is not Gary, man. Gary's a talker. You know, he's juiced with confidence. And in this week, I'm not feeling that vibe, man. I'm just not feeling that vibe. Hold up. Charles Edward Cheese, thank you for the super donation, man. Thank you, man. Yeah, I jumped on last minute. I knew the weigh-in was coming on, and I said, you know, if I'm gonna watch this weigh-in, I might as well watch it with y'all. You know, and that's why I jumped on real quick last minute. You know, I know it's slow, it's a light crowd, but I jumped in last minute. Make sure everybody smash that like button. Thank you again, Charles Edward Cheese, for the super donation. I will be here tomorrow covering this fight live, and I'm probably going to be watching the UFC fight as well. So you know, definitely jump in later. Jump in, everyone that's here. Jump on, catch up with me, be here with me tomorrow, chill with me tomorrow. Again, thank you again, Charles Edward Cheese, for the super donation. I appreciate it, man. And make sure everybody that's in here smash that like button. All right. So anyway, yeah, his demeanor, just like Daryl said, I agree with you. Daryl, his demeanor seems to be off. That confidence don't seem to really be there like that. And I think that's if I'm worried about anything, I think that's what I'm worried about the most with Gary Russell Jr. going into this fight. Expect says Mr. Russell playing mind games. It's a possibility, and I agree with you, and I brought that up. But even if that's a possibility, it still means some sort of confidence is not there if you feel like you have to do that, because you don't normally do that. You don't normally go into the fight with trying to make the other team, the other party, the other group, your opponent, thinking that you're not on your A game. You don't normally go in like that. So if you're taking this fight specifically and trying to play chess and say, like, before the fight, listen, I'm going to play mind games. I'm going to make these people feel like I'm not on my A game. I'm going to make these people feel like they can beat me today. Then even with that, it just doesn't feel like it's confident, you know? So I'm not sure. The welcome one says, what up, Wave? Hope you are staying safe. In my opinion, I think Mark is in coursework to cause an upset against Gary. But as long as it's a good fight with no robberies, I don't care who wins. Let's go, champ. Yeah, I feel you. Man. D-Style, what's up? D-Style says, I got Magsayo upsetting Gary. It's, you know what? I can't argue with you, man. I can't argue. I mean, a lot of people feel that way right now. The way it's looking right now, I don't even know. King Alfred says bookies are paying back triple Magsayo wins. So everybody jumping on Magsayo right now that he's gonna pull it off, you know, and I don't blame him. It's just too many things. Yes, he missed weight. What else is Tensor says Russell was like 1-7 favorite when this fight was announced. Right now, he's 1-4. I mean, it is what it is. You know, saying that you having injuries. Is he saying all of this? To throw everything off? It's possible. But you know what? Listen, I think I'm still gonna roll with Gary. I'm gonna stick to my guns. I'm gonna roll with Gary. There are things off. If he goes in there and he ends up getting knocked out within a 3-4 round period, I would not be surprised. but I'm going to stick to my guns. And I think Gary Russell Jr. is going to win this fight by decision. And I'm basing it off the fighters themselves. If Gary is not on his A game, and I do believe he needs to be on his A game or close to it to beat Mark, he might lose the fight. But I'm going to stick with my guns, and I'm going to go with Gary Russell Jr. winning this one by decision. It might not be a unanimous decision. It might be a majority or a split decision. It might even be controversial. But I think Gary Russell Jr. is going to find a way to pull this fight off a decision. You know, Mark, the problem is Mark, explosive, young, powerful, active. Okay, he's been active. He's been fighting through this whole pandemic. Okay, he's had some good fights. Had one of the better fights of the year last year. All right, but he has a lot of flaws in his game, defensive flaws. All right, defensive flaws, and I just don't think he has. He's not good at fighting southpaws. We already seen that. You know, in the Hermosillo fight didn't look good against the southpaw. Didn't look good against the southpaw, man. And that's not a southpaw on the level of Gary Russell Jr. And that is a recent fight. This is a 2020 fight. The last southpaw he fought was against in 2020, and he didn't look good. And that's part of the reason why I'm still rolling with Gary, because Gary's a sniper with that left hand. You know, Gary's going to use that lead hand to measure and pop Magsayo off all night long. You know, we know that Magsayo is explosive. He has a big left hook. He got a big right hand. I talked about his pull counter with a right hand. I understand, like, he's good at what he does, but Gary Russell is going to find a way to slow that fight down and snipe him with straight lefts. You know, Mark Magsayo doesn't make that much of a use of his jab. Like, the jab is just there to set up the right hand. You know, he's not going to be using that jab as a weapon. The jab is not going to be a weapon for Mark Magsayo, whereas for Gary, it will be. See, he's just going to be measuring Mark Magsayo. All right, he's going to be using that jab, sticking that jab to the body constantly. And that's another thing. Gary's body work is very impressive. There's going to be times where he's going to step in and throw those combos to the body. And it's going to bother Mark, just like it did in the Julio Cesar fight. You know, there's going to be times where Gary's going to be coming in with that high guard, and he's going to have Mark on the ropes, and he's going to go to work. Now, I don't think he's as rugged on the inside as a Julio Cesar, all right, or even as the Hermosillo fighter. I don't think he's as rugged on the inside. Gary's not the greatest inside fighter, but he can do it. He can do it, and he's better than Mark at it. You know, so he can make those kind of adjustments, and he just got more tools. You know, he's a better counter puncher. He still has the faster hands. He has power, throws great combination, and he's more defensively aware. Mark is not a good defensive fighter. A lot of things that he does, it's taken from Manny Pacquiao, the way he throws his punches, the angles, you know, the foot speed. All right. But he's not Manny Pacquiao. You know, defensively, he's not Manny Pacquiao. Counter punches, he's not right. He's just not. He doesn't read his opponents like a Manny Pacquiao does. There's a lot of similarities there. You know, he's a protege of Manny, but he ain't Manny. You know, and Gary Russell is gonna expose some of them flaws. You know, I think with Mark, like I said earlier in this video, in order for Mark to win, I know somebody made a comment a little while ago saying that Mark is going to come back later. And Gary's going to start out winning. I think it's the other way around. I think if Mark has a chance of winning this fight, you know, my prediction is Mark comes out early, guns blazing. All right. Makes Gary work early, you know. Don't let Gary get comfortable. He's the guy that's rusty. I feel like Mark, in order for him to win this fight, whether it's by decision, whether it's by knockout, Mark has to be the aggressive early. You know, wake Gary up. Like, Like, let him know that he's in for a long night. Don't let the fight drag, because the longer the rounds go, Gary's going to get comfortable. You know, listen, he's the pot shotter of the two. He's the pot shotter. You don't want Gary to get in that bag. And that's why I said Mark got to come out blazing, like right away, putting that pressure on him, throwing those big shots, wake him up, wake Gary Jr. up. Let him know, like, yo, you the old guy. I'm trying to get you out of here. That's what Mark has to do. But if Mark lets the fight drag and let this become a boxing match, you know, and let Gary set his tracks and take his time, you don't want Gary to think, you know. Gary wants to stay on the outside and pot shot all day. That's what he's going to do to win this one. You don't want that. Mark, being the younger, fresher fighter, you're going to keep Gary on his back foot. You want to pressure him. You want to throw bombs, you know, and you got to stay on him. You got to stay on him. You got to have to fight him in a way you want to hurt him. From jump, from the opening bell. All right. All right, let's go back to some people are bringing his dad's health up. You know, I've seen a few comments on that. Brittany says, Wave, Gary's father's sickness and in and out of the hospital, I believe, is kind of messing with him. It could be. Okay, it could be. All of this stuff could be. All of this stuff could be. All of this stuff could be. The reason why I'm predicting Gary is because of who he is as a fighter. I think a lot of people that are predicting against Gary right now is who he mentally is right now. And that's the battle. If you notice that the people that are picking Mark is picking him because of the confidence that he have. The fact that he's been active, the fact that he's young and fresher going into this fight. Mentally, I feel you. I'm not going to argue that with y'all because it's a good pick. The reason why I'm rolling with Gary, because overall as a fighter, I think he's the superior boxer. You know, so even with all of these things going into the fight, you know, what he's going through with his pops, what, you know, missing weight, claiming that he has minor injuries, being 2 years inactive. These are all of the ingredients that would take a fighter to fall, especially a long reigning champion. These are all of the ingredients where we say, okay, wow, he's approaching his mid-30s. He has all of this stuff going into the fight that is just not a good look for him. So people are picking against him because of those reasons. And I don't blame you. It's a chance you're going to take. You know, you gamblers out there, be very, very careful with this one. Be very, very careful. Because Gary doesn't look right. He doesn't look like he's, you know, mentally, he doesn't look like he's there. But when he's in that ring, we just got to wait and see how it goes and all plays out. Some of you going to come back tomorrow and be like, yo, Wave, I told you, Mark with the upset. And some of you going to be like, yo, Wave, you called it. You know, once that bell rings, Gary might slow down the pace and thoroughly outbox him for the whole fight. If Gary was fighting him 2 years ago, I would have picked Gary and it would have been no hesitation. I would have done a regular prediction video and it would have just been like, yo, I got Gary winning. I know Mark is explosive. He's fun. He's better than the majority of everybody that Gary has fought. So I get it. So I understand. But I'm going to roll with Gary. I'm going to roll with Gary, you know, just because all of this stuff, we could all just be overthinking everything and it might all be all right. And as soon as the bell ring, Gary might look just as good as he always did. But we just got to wait and see. I don't think Magsayo has great stamina. To answer your question, CMP says, do you think Magsayo has the stamina? I don't think he has great stamina. I think Mark takes rounds off. He's very explosive, but his punch out rate, his output is not that high. You know, I don't think it's that high. And I'm basing that off his previous fights that I've seen of him. I don't think it's that high, especially if he's fighting someone that's going to work the body. The two fights that he looked vulnerable in, he took a lot of damage. He didn't look that great. He didn't look that sharp because he was fighting aggressive fighters that went on the inside and worked the body. You know, guys that stayed on his heels. So if you look at those fights, those are part of the reasons why I've been leaning with Gary Jr. from jump. You know, and I think Gary Russell Jr. has the experience to exploit some of the flaws. All right. So let me go back and read some of these comments. What else are you guys are saying? Somebody support all Filipino bloggers. Gary Russell only 4 rounds. I'm assuming you're picking Magsayo to win within 4 rounds. If you're supporting all Filipino bloggers. Maker says Gary Russell should still win, but I think it'll be messy. Yeah, I don't think it's gonna be easy. I don't think he's getting a knockout in this neither. You know, I was talking about going to the body and stuff. Gary Russell can fight on the inside, but it's definitely not one of his strengths. He can do it, but it's not one of those things that I feel that Gary Russell is great at. I don't think he has the greatest balance on the inside. I think he gets hit a lot more. It's kind of similar to Rigo. You know, I always, well, not always, but like more in my older videos, I used to compare the two because of their styles and their size too, since they were close as far as the divisions they fought in. And this was a fight that I used to talk about on this channel that I wanted to see back then, because Gary Russell was at 126 and Guillermo Rigo was at 122. And I used to talk about the two of them a lot often before they both fought Lomachenko. And I think neither one of them are that great at on the inside. You know, I just don't think like they're both defensive fighters. They're both like somewhat slick. You know, Rigo is a lot more slick than Gary. Gary is more willing to engage than Guillermo Rigo. But on the inside, I never thought neither one of them had great inside game, good inside defense. I think their defense, they have superb defense, but when they're on the inside, it doesn't show that much. You know, you don't see, I don't think they're that physically strong. I think their defense, you know, it's not that good on the inside. I just don't think they're that comfortable and sitting in the pocket like that. You know, I don't think their balance is that great. I think they give away a lot of their strengths when they're sitting in the pocket. I would say Gary's probably a little better than Rigo. I always thought Rigo was bad on the inside, but I think Gary's better. And I think that Mark, from what I've seen, he doesn't look comfortable. He's not good at fighting on the inside. I think Mark is definitely a guy that needs some space. You know, likes to move, likes to reset himself before he goes back into on the attack. And I think Gary can exploit some of that by pressuring him. If he is struggling a little bit with Mark on the outside, I think he can always make the adjustment and make it more of an inside fight. All right. And put more pressure on him. But again, this will be tough because this will be a Gary Russell that's coming off of the 2-year layoff. All right. And we don't know how good his tank is going to be going into this fight, fighting the younger, hungrier fighter. All right. So we just got to wait and see how this all plays out. Again, my last prediction, my views on this is I got Gary Russell winning this one and by a decision. You know, I think if there's two, you know, I can see Mark winning by stoppage or decision win, you know, but I'm going to go with Gary. Gary's my pick. That's my final pick. Even with everything, Gary has a long list of things that's wrong going into this fight or seems wrong going into this fight. I got Gary Russell winning this. I should be here tomorrow to do live commentary for sure. I might be doing UFC mainly because I do want to see that heavyweight fight is a priority to me. But I'm gonna cover this fight no matter what, you know, no matter what, I'm definitely gonna cover this fight. So I might jump on, do like a fight party, but just chill, you know, just doing UFC just as a casual, like, because I'm not a hardcore UFC fan no more. As casually, I might jump on live while I'm watching the pay-per-view, but I will cover the Gary Russell Jr. fight without a doubt. All right. No matter what, even if I don't do a UFC, I will be doing boxing for sure. All right. That'll be the priority for tomorrow night. So you'll definitely see the post when I put it up. Make sure you guys smash that like button. Nimrod says, hello, box fans from Cyprus, Europe. My Filipino colleague over here cannot stop arguing how good his compatriot is, and he is so certain Magsayo is going to win. He has bet all his salary on him. I mean, listen, it's not a bad bet. It's not a bad bet, you know, and I know how the Filipino fan base is. They're really, really, really supportive of their fighters all of the time, no matter what it is, whatever the occasion. You can't, it's not about logic. It's just like they support their fighters, just like a lot of fans. A lot of the black fight fans support their fighters. A lot of the, you know, the Latino fans, you know, I was talking about this other day. A lot of people, when it comes to background, are going to support their own. And there's nothing wrong with that. Just don't get mad when another group of people do it with their fighter, you know, but that it's not a bad pick. Gary Russell is the favorite, and Mark Magsayo is more than a live dog. There's a good chance he may win this run. And at this point, even though Gary Russell is still the favorite, I would say it's 50-50 at this point. Looking at everything as a whole and looking at everything that's going on with Gary Russell, if he's going to lose, it'll be tomorrow night, you know, for sure. If he's going to lose to anyone at 126, it's going to be tomorrow night. All right. So anyway, that's my video. Make sure you smash that like button, share the video, subscribe to the channel. I'm out of here. I'll see you guys tomorrow night. All right. Please. Peace.